Good morning. Okay, it's on. I want to welcome all. What we're doing is we'll make sure that we have there's two important things: having you all here on the Historic Society, and also to have the history on tape of the Congergation Shalom. And so I want to make sure that we've got a clear shot for the video camera, because that's the most important part of the day. I want to welcome you to the Historic Society. The museum is in the back there. We're happy to come over and take a look at it after the program. There's some displays over on the side here of the History Museum, and also a couple of scrapbooks that Colleen brought from Congergation Shalom. So please feel free to look at those things afterwards and take your time and enjoy it. Also help yourself with some more coffee and rolls when the program is over. Just a couple things for the Historical Society. Dues are now due, and Gene and Fern are both here, and I'm sure that between the two of them will be happy to take their dues for the year. And then we have a docent program in which we work, we have a list of projects to do, and anybody who's interested in it is really welcome to join the Historical Society on the program. You can either work, after you get some training, work on your own, or work as a team. Or if you enjoy people, you can also sit here and have the museum open and explain things to the people. But today is a day for oral history, and this has been a continuation project of the Historical Society for about 7 years now. And we have over 24 oral histories of clubs, organizations in Leisure World. And this is going to be our third religious group. We've had the Lutheran Church, and we have the Congregational Church. Now we have the Jewish Temple, which is, I think, the second oldest group in these world as far as religious organizations. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce Colleen Goldberg, who I've known for a long time and respect. And I'm really glad that she accepted the opportunity to do this oral history. So would you please help me welcome Colleen Goldberg.
Thank you, Tom. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Everybody, let me know if you can't hear me at any point. Just wave. I'll wave back. Tom introduced me, and he's right, we've known each other for years. But let me just introduce myself for a moment, give you a little bit of information about me before I start telling you about the congregation. My name is Helen Goldberg, and I'm a past president of Congergation Shalom. I was elected the first time in 1995, and twice since then, having served a total of 6 years at different given times between then and now. I'm presently the second vice president and have been writing the publicity in the Golden Rain News for a number of years. But enough about myself. Let's talk about the synagogue. Our name is Congergation Shalom. We do not call ourselves Temple or Beth, both of which mean house and are used to describe other congregations according to their degree of observance. There are the Orthodox who believe in the written word as absolute law with no deviation. They use Beth in front of their name. So do some conservative synagogues. There are the Reform who are very liberal in most cases. They use Temple in front of their name. We belong to the United Synagogue of America for Conservative Judaism, which strictly keeps the law but tries to interpret it for modern living. We are a synagogue, but we have no building. So we meet in a clubhouse, and we call ourselves Congergation. Shalom means many things. It means hello, or goodbye, or peace. So we are a congregation of peace. When we meet to observe our Sabbath and our holidays, once we set ourselves up in the clubhouse, it becomes a sanctuary. And it's no longer a lobby or a room. Our ark, which holds our sacred Torah, is placed in the center. We have several memorial boards upon which the names of our departed loved ones are inscribed. and a light is lit next to the name on the anniversary of his or her passing. There are the pulpits behind which the rabbis and the cantors stand. There is the menorah, which is the symbol of Judaism, a 7-branched candelabra, not to be mistaken for the Hanukkah, which is the 8-branched candelabra used only on Hanukkah. The 7 candles are lit during every service. We have a tree of life upon which these are inscribed to commemorate special events and special friends and family. Additionally, in front there are 2 candles which are always lit at sundown prior to every service. All of the other items are to the left and right of the ark. Since we have no walls, everything is freestanding. This then is our sanctuary. But the people who meet to pray in the sanctuary are the congregation, and they make a synagogue. Actually, regardless of whether we meet in the sanctuary or meet anywhere else, we are a synagogue. A service can be held as long as there are 10 people present, and this is called a minyan. The Torah, as I mentioned earlier, is the most sacred, holy object in the Jewish religion for all Jewish people, regardless of degree of observance. The Torah is the 5 books of Moses, written on a parchment scroll by a special scribe with a quill, and is the history from creation through the birth of monotheism, to the exodus of the Hebrews from slavery in Egypt, through their travels to the Promised Land, and the growth of the Jewish religion. It contains the rules and regulations by which we live, the 10 Commandments. We adorn it with a beautiful mantle, a breastplate, and a pointer of silver. When it is read on Saturdays and holidays, the pointer, called a yad, is used to point at the letters to help keep the place. The reader avoids touching it directly with his or her finger. There are no vowels in the Torah. When the Torah is removed from the ark during a service, it is carried around the synagogue so all people there may have the opportunity to touch it, usually with a book or the talit, which is the prayer shawl. We do not pray to it, but we treat it with the greatest respect and revere it for the wisdom it contains. I have a picture here I'll pass around to you so you may see it. It's a picture of me holding the Torah. You can see the Torah, what it looks like. It does not have the mantle on it because when we took the picture, we wanted to show the inscription. It does not have the breastplate, I'm sorry. It has the mantle because we wanted to show the writing on the mantle. It'll give you an idea of what it looks like and has the 2 silver tops on it. To help understand it, our ancestors formed the Talmud, which consists of 2 parts, the Mishnah, which is the oral law, and the Gemara, the outstanding aspect of which is the record of the give and take, the debate, and the discussion which took place concerning the Mishnah, a biblical text or a point of law. I have a book here. I'm not going to pass it around. I'm just going to hold it up to show to you. This is part of the Talmud. This book is not normally in every Jewish home. My father was a rabbi, and these were his books, so I have his set of books. In the book, though, as I show to you, you will note that in the center there is a center, which is the Mishnah. That's the part that comes from the Torah. That's the oral law. All of the wording around the side of it are the arguments and discussions that the rabbis and wise men held all of these years past to form what we now know as law. Many, many years, many, many hours were spent while they discussed every single word that they found in the Torah to make sure that they were getting everything exactly right. As I said, there are no vowels in the Torah, so any given word could possibly mean two things, and that's why there was so much discussion on it. I hope that all of you can see this. You see there's a center section, that's from the Torah. All the wording around it are the discussions. Hebrew is read from right to left. The story goes that when the Hebrews began to carve their words onto stone, since most were right-handed, they held the pointed part in the left hand and used the hammer to hit with the right hand. Right to left. We also have a book that we use that is a translation, not translation, but it actually has both the translation and the words of the Torah. This is called a Chumash, the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses in book form. This does have vowels. This you can pass around. So that the people, when the Torah is being read, the congregation can follow it in the Pentateuch, and since there is a translation of some of the parts, can get a wiser knowledge of what the Hebrew stands for. We have a rabbi and a cantor. The word rabbi means teacher, and that's what our rabbis do. They impart to us what the Torah and other Hebrew books of law teach us on how to live morally and ethically. The cantor sings the prayers and liturgy on our behalf. We are very fortunate presently to have Rabbi Manny Goldstein and cantor Levi Slater as the professionals who represent us on the pulpit and conduct our services together. I'm very happy to say that the cantor is with us this morning. Thank you, cantor. The Torah is read from the scroll every Saturday morning and every holiday morning. When a person is called to the altar to make a blessing over the Torah, he or she wears a talit and a head covering called a kippah or yarmulke. Those of you who have the picture at the moment will notice that I'm wearing a talit, the prayer shawl, on my shoulders. Now a little bit about our history. In 1962, a resident of Leisure World, Miriam Mazer, placed a notice on the bulletin board of Clubhouse 1 asking for all Jewish residents who wanted to help organize a synagogue to contact her. With the assistance of Irving Citron and Irving Kunken, several organizational meetings were held, and the vote on affiliation was in favor of conservative. Ben Liebert and his committee wrote the first constitution and bylaws. On May 26, 1963, the state of California granted the synagogue its charter, and dedication ceremonies were held in the amphitheater. Irving Citron and Max Pine built the first ark, which George Mazer designed. Many years later, Ruth Pam, one of our members, presented us with the ark that we presently use in memory of her husband. Maurice Rubenstein was the first president, followed by Herman Levy. Rabbi Sidney Guthman, at that time with Temple Sinai in Long Beach, assisted by loaning a Torah and prayer books. In October, the sisterhood was formed. In January of 1964, Rabbi Bernard Kimmel was contracted for Friday evening services, and on November 5, there was a wedding of the 2 scrolls donated by Clarence and Ann Schulman and other donor members. Clergymen of all faiths and dignitaries of Seal Beach, Long Beach, and the Orange County were all that area attended. In January 1965, Rabbi Kimmel initiated Saturday morning Sabbath services. A choir was formed under the direction of Cantor Sudak, and the congregation sponsored a series of 3 lectures. In April, the synagogue held its annual Passover Seder, and in May, the congregation became affiliated with the United Synagogue of America. Brotherhood Week was held from February 19 through 26 with help from Cantor David Kane of Temple Beth Shalom of Long Beach. Our president, Wolf Herman, was the master of ceremonies. The steering committee included all faiths, and Max Dreyer from our congregation helped coordinate, develop, and publicize the programs for that week, and to explore the possibility of establishing a branch of the National Council of Christians and Jews in Leisure World. In December, the congregation received a breastplate to enhance the sacred Torah scroll recently received from London. That scroll was hidden in London after being rescued from Czechoslovakia during the Holocaust. The congregation became more and more involved in outside activities. Trees were purchased to be dedicated in Israel during the Union of World Congregations Convention. The first annual Bonds for Israel dinner was held. Brotherhood Week was observed every year, and a special Sabbath was dedicated to celebrating Israel's 22nd birthday. The ritual of making the blessing over the Sabbath candles was initiated, and the sisterhood arranged for a break the fast at the end of Yom Kippur with refreshments and entertainment. A beautiful silver crown for the Torah was presented to the synagogue. In 1971, the congregation helped a fledgling synagogue in Santa Barbara by donating prayer books, and in 1972, the synagogue received donations of an altar cloth and 2 Torah mantles from its members. Now the synagogue was 10 years old in 1973, and the congregation had a special celebration. The congregation had now been annually having the Bonds for Israel dinner, the United Synagogue of America Sabbath, the Brotherhood Week observance, interfaith Thanksgiving services, break the fast after Yom Kippur, a Passover Seder, and now in 1974, they instituted the University of Judaism breakfast. The Interfaith Council resolved that invocation and speakers' content would be universal and acceptable to all faiths. In 1976, Rabbi Sidney Guffman became the rabbi of the congregation and led them in services until 1978 when he retired. The sisterhood donated white altar cloths and 2 chairs for the sanctuary, and in 1977, a new Torah was purchased and dedicated. It takes over a year for a scribe to make a Torah. Does it by hand with a quill. The synagogue reached its 15th year in 1978 and celebrated with a special anniversary dinner. In April of 1979, there was a Holocaust Observance Day held with Reverend Don Lindblom, Director of the Long Beach Area Council of Churches, as the main speaker, and members of the Christian faith participating. As the synagogue grew, so did its activities in the outside community. In 1980, Congergation, Shalom, through the Interfaith Council, invited Dr. Earl Carnahan as main speaker, with members of Leisure World Community Church to Sabbath services in celebration of the Judeo-Christian heritage. In turn, the Leisure World Community Church hosted the congregation with Rabbi Guffman, who was president of the Religious Council at the time. In Megillah, the scroll within which the story of how Queen Esther saved the Jewish people from annihilation, and the reason that we observe Purim was donated, and an altar cloth was presented by the family of Wolf Herman in honor of the 70th anniversary of his bar mitzvah in 1981. Speaking of Purim, we are observing Purim this weekend. We will be reading, the rabbi will read the Megillah on Saturday evening after sundown. And the cantor is going to present a Purim spiel, which is a play. In 1982, the synagogue received the regional award from the National Synagogues of America in recognition of the meaningful Holocaust program. 1983 marked the 20th anniversary of the synagogue. They celebrated it with a United Jewish Welfare Fund Victory Night in May and an Israeli art festival and auction in July. In October, they held a Sabbath service to honor old-timers. The 20th anniversary celebration dinner was held on October 22nd. In the years that followed, the men's club was formed, the sisterhood held a monthly social meeting, the Constitution was revised, the Board of Directors met once a month, and in 1988, the 25th anniversary was celebrated. The synagogue sponsored a trip to Israel in 1992, and 29 people spent 29 wonderful days touring the country. In 1993, we celebrated our 30th anniversary, and in 1998, we commemorated our 35th anniversary. In 2003, we celebrated our 40th anniversary, and in 2008, we reached our 45th year. Now we look forward to celebrating our silver anniversary, our 50th year as a synagogue in 2013, a mere 3 years from now. Presently, we have our yearly Hanukkah party, our Mama Seder, our Torah play, and our Friday evening potluck dinners. The rabbi teaches a class, members hold baking demonstrations, and we have computer training programs. The Golden Rain News publishes our news article each week. The congregation has had a representative on the Interfaith Council every year, and in many years have had one of our members and or our cantor take part in the Thanksgiving service. We are part of a community-wide Purim Carnival held at the Albert Jewish Community Center in Long Beach every year. This year, Purim falls on Sunday. We will have representatives there helping with the tickets, helping with the booths, because we are part of a community-wide carnival. We have donated money to the Golden Age Foundation, for which in turn we have received plaques, which grace our Tree of Life. We participated in helping raise money for the Servicemen's Memorial that stands between Clubhouse 3 and 4, and donated funds for the Respite Center in the Lutheran Church. We look forward to a continued productive relationship with the Leisure Road community for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A couple of things. Number one, I'm glad you explained your connection with this Congergation Shalom. I know that you're very, very active. I wasn't sure of all the titles you held. I know you've been leader for a number of times. But I want to thank you very, very much. Also, it's interesting that in 1962, when they first started talking about having the congregation, was actually the very first year the Leisure Road existed. So you've been here the whole time. And just because your anniversary is 1 year after, doesn't mean you didn't start thinking about it at the same time we all started. But I want to take a minute and give you something to remember this day for. It's a cup of Historical Society, and I hope you remember when you enjoy using it, that how much we appreciate having it here today. Thank you very much. program. Chuck has been our official videographer for a number of years. These go on file and in the Historical Society, so we are able to look back on them. In fact, this morning, one person walked by and wanted to borrow one of the old ones because he needed to get some information off of it. I want to thank Charlotte Morrill, who does the inspiration for the highlights, and I want to thank Dorcas and Jean and Fern and Ann for helping get it registered this morning. Our next program will be on May 26th, and it will be a history of the Venetian World Photographic Arts Club. And interestingly enough, that club was started many years ago as the Venetian World Photography Club. And they had a dark room in the bottom of the amphitheater. Of course, now they don't use dark rooms anymore. They use computers, and they're no longer a photography club, but a photographic arts club. So we hope you all would like to come. We also place a sign for our quarterly publication highlights. Again, thank you, Elaine, for making a very interesting program, one of our most interesting organizations. Thank you all very much.
Excuse me, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you all. So thank you, first of all, to the Historical Society for setting up such a beautiful room for us. And to Tom, thank you, and all the people that were involved. But I also want to thank our historian, Gloria Clark, who has brought the books, which are placed on the table in the back. She now keeps track of everything that goes on now. Unfortunately, some of our archives were lost in the past. We don't have a building, and so we had to ask a resident to store some of our files in their locker in the carport. And over the years, as someone went to check on it, it seems that, again, unfortunately, they were not there. The person had moved or passed away, and nobody seemed to know where they were. So we lost a lot of our files. We have a few people that went to the Golden Rain News, and we have to thank them also, because they let the 2 ladies or 3 ladies go through their files of the Golden News, and so we're able to pull out some sort of an outline for us, which I made a copy, and I will give to the Historical Society. It says some sort of a written history. It's all that we have at this point in writing from 1960 through to the 1983. Thank you, William.
We'll put this in that's one of the reasons we started the Historical Society, is we have in the back room safety deposit boxes for various club organizations. Now, they may not look like safety deposit boxes to you, they're actually Xerox boxes. But we have a Xerox box for each club. This has happened many times. We do try to save records here for various clubs and organizations. And I'll thank you very much. I'll make sure this gets filed away so it'll be there for anyone else to look in the future. Again, thank you all very much for coming. Please help yourself to coffee and donuts. Coffee and rolls.